Hey everybody, today we are talking about Crazy Rich Asians. It's the movie based off of these books. These are 2 out of the 3 books, and we're gonna talk about it because this is a huge moment for representation, for Asian and Asian Americans. And so we're gonna talk about what this moment means for us, and we're gonna talk about some of the problems we had with the movie. I have with me today the wonderful Cristina Kim.
Hey.
Who are you?
Ooh, whoa.
This is a dope journalist, producer, and yes, she is Hapas, and I thought it'd be really great to talk to her because that's some of the criticism of the movie with some of the mixed people in there. Let's talk about it.
Let's do it.
All right. It's been over 2 decades since we've had an all-Asian cast in a blockbuster movie. What has this moment meant for you?
It was exciting, actually, to see an all-Asian led cast and to have so much excitement around it. Like, this is like, I think they spent $20 million making it, so it's like a real investment. I was excited to see romantic leads, because I love rom-coms, I do. Like, I genuinely like this as a genre.
You're the audience.
I am the audience. And it's always been tiring, I think, especially growing up, where it's like, the romance, like the main leads, they're always white.
Always.
And it's just like, how do you imagine yourself, especially as like a teenager more so, and you're like, oh, like romance. And it's just always through like white relationships or white beauty standards, which I think we'll talk about are still very much in this movie, but everyone is Asian.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Like, that's not my community whatsoever. But you know, as an Asian American, you know, I'm Filipino, there are people that look like me somewhat, you know, some of the characters, I can find them, they're closer to me than white leads.
Yeah, but also like Asian lead man. Like, that was a bigger deal to me. I think that, you know, there's this kind of stereotype in the United States that defines Asian American masculinity as feminine. And you can base it down to just like racism of the 1800s. It's a way of kind of controlling the other by being like, oh, they're effeminate, they're not real men, so they don't belong in America. And I think that you still see that play out.
Absolutely.
But I will say, if we can get into the criticisms, hearing this, like, that was a very like light-skinned cast. And then when you do see color, it's in these subservient roles. They're just in the background, they're quiet, they're opening doors for people, they're security guards. That is real. Like, that is the society in which we live in. But I feel like sometimes, and maybe like it's putting too much on this movie, right? And I've heard a lot of that too. Like, it's just a rom-com, like, enjoy it. But I feel like the whole thing is that Rachel Chu's character is that she is like this she's
worldly. She's the, you know, she's the millennial. Is she millennial?
I don't know, but she's an Asian American professor who has been raised
in New York.
So, you know, you would think that she would have a little bit of like, oh, this is a little interesting. But instead, when she gets to that mansion complex, she's like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I would be like, this is amazing, but like, I've got some problems about, you know,
I don't think you would do well.
Inequality.
I don't think you would do well in this, in marrying into that family. So speaking about Asian men and them being held up as really attractive in this film, I want to talk about some of the criticisms, because that's a big deal. One of the big ones came out against the lead actor, Henry Golding, who is half Malaysian, is he? And half white.
Caucasian.
Yeah, and he's the lead role. He is supposed to be, you know, the Prince Charming, the most attractive and perfect dreamy man. And he got a lot of criticism because he's not, you know, he's not a full Asian descent. And he has responded. I've read a couple responses of his where he says something along the lines of, you know, you can't police my Asian identity. He says, I feel Asian, this is my experience. And he kind of throws it back in that way. But I took issue with that. And I don't think we should be policing each other's identity. But that's not what this issue is about. The issue is about the privilege he holds in being half white and it being able to pass in certain circles as mixed, as a little bit more, you know, whatever, having white features. And he doesn't address that. And that's what I have a problem with, because this was our chance to show look at this super attractive Asian man who's so dreamy. This was our chance to show someone who was just straight up Asian, but instead we chose someone who was half white. It's like we weren't ready for that new standard of beauty.
Which is crazy because the rest of the film, like there are other very good looking, very sexy, like male characters who are full Asian, and so
because full Asian men that are sexy exist.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah.
But I will say, and like, so I am half Korean and half Spanish, and so like, there's this concept of like, but then, you know, he says that he identifies as Asian, and then there is a little bit of policing that I think is just like, and I'll get to it because I understand, and I actually think that maybe it should have been like a full Asian person just to stay authentic to the book, and again, to kind of reify that like, yes, like Asian men are attractive, they're handsome, and to kind of push back against that stereotype.
Right.
That said, I can tell just as an individual, if I was that actor and as I am today, there is like this struggle, right? Like I'm never enough. I'm never gonna be Asian enough. Certainly not white. Like
certainly
not. That's not happening. So I understand that kind of like his reaction is almost defensive, kind of because he's probably been defending that his whole life.
I was annoyed by the halfness of the lead, but when I was watching it, I actually noticed he wasn't the only one.
Like it needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
And I know. So what was that character we were talking about?
One of the big ones that I noticed was Arminta Lee. I was like, she is not full.
She first gets on the camera, I'm like, okay, yeah, fine. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, Asian people look all kinds of ways
and fine. But when she's in like the gold lame jumpsuit starting the bachelorette party, I legitimately thought it was a white woman hugging Rachel Chu. I was like, wait, who is this person? Is there gonna be like a white friend? That's literally what I thought. I was like, they brought in a white person.
In the Philippines, almost all of the celebrities are, I say they're barely even Filipino. It's like you could be from Australia and just know how to speak Tagalog and you could be a star there. Most people are not full and they're definitely not dark skinned.
Right.
Actresses and, you know, singers in America who are Filipino are also half, and they don't even represent the Filipino half. A movie that's finally for people in Asia that are Asian that aren't supposed to be half, you know, we're still giving those people space in that.
And in some ways, like Rachel Chu going to Singapore and she's not Asian enough.
That's one of the things I loved about the movie and that I didn't expect, even though I read the books. And that is the representation of hyphen American. You know, obviously I'm Asian American, so I really identified with that, but I think anyone who is that dash American can relate. I think it was just a fun movie. It's not like my favorite rom-com of all time, but it's a step that I celebrate and that I support. Let's all go out and support other filmmakers, other artists that are producing content that's dope.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Asian, Latino, like everybody that's just not represented in film. I think that's the beautiful thing about when these movies come out is that you see communities come together demanding representation. And that's the beautiful thing too.
Yeah.